Roanoke Island, 1587. 115 English men, women, and children step off a ship ready to carve out England's first real foothold in the New World. Their leader, John White, makes them a promise. He's sailing home for supplies and he'll be back before they know it. He does not come back before they know it. War breaks out, ships get grounded, years slip by. When White finally returns, 3 years later than planned, he walks into a settlement that's simply empty. And the only thing they left behind is a single word carved into a post. A word that should have solved everything, but didn't. The story begins with Governor John White and his 115 colonists building the first real English settlement in the New World. Life for them doesn't go as planned. Soon, there's drama with local tribes. They cannot stand settlers on the island they call home. And it isn't long before they ambush and harm one of the colonists. All hell breaks loose after that. The colonists start clashing with the very tribes they're relying on for food, and that means barely enough supplies. On the other hand, winter is creeping in, frozen shadow over everything. Faced with hunger, community tension, and the growing realization that this may not have been the best real estate choice, White decides to sail home for support and supplies. Before he leaves though, he gives the colonists very specific instructions. They're to split into two groups. One group moves inland to look for food, while the other group stays on Roanoke Island. If anyone relocates before he returns, they're to carve their destination into a tree. If danger forces them out, they're to add a Maltese cross. No pressure though, just their entire legacy riding on some tree graffiti. Now White delivers the plan and sails home. And back home, he immediately gets stuck for 3 years because England gets busy battling Spain. The Spanish Armada is gearing up. Queen Elizabeth has ordered all ships to stay put. A quick supply run turns into the longest, be right back, in colonial history. It's 1590 when he finally returns to Roanoke, probably rehearsing a very long apology speech. But something is seriously off. There is nobody there. The colony is gone. The settlement is overgrown. But there's something even stranger here. The houses are neatly dismantled rather than wrecked. No bodies, no bones, no signs of a struggle. All that's left is a carving on a post. Just one word, Croatoan. Nearby, a partial carving, C-R-O. White knew this was almost certainly pointing to Croatoan Island, home of the Croatoan people and a place the English already had on their mental map. The Croatoans are friends. Sort of. Maybe the colonists moved to their land. White tries to sail there to follow the clue, but a storm wrecks his plan and he's forced back to England without answers and to a lot of sleepless nights. It leaves a question that the world never stops asking. What on earth really happened to those colonists? Some researchers point towards famine and illness. Tree ring data shows the region was hit by a massive drought starting in 1587 that lasted years. Food would have been scarce for everyone, including local tribes, which makes survival even harder. There's also the Spain theory. England and Spain were at each other's throats, and in 1587, the Spanish had captured an English sailor who tattled about the colony. But when Spanish ships went looking for it in 1588, they found no one there, and there's no evidence they ever located White's colony at all. A few ideas run a little darker, like extreme hunger, violence, survival decisions no one wants to think about. And of course, the fringe stuff. Curses, monsters, supernatural explanations too wild to take seriously. Then, in 2012, something changes. It starts with a few curious researchers and a map, the La Virginie Pars, drawn by John White himself. Researchers had pored over this map for years without luck, until someone decided to backlight it. And that's when they saw it. Some 50 miles inland from Roanoke, near where the Roanoke and Chowan rivers meet, is a symbol, a fort symbol, craftily hidden under a small patch of paper never noticed before. Now, archaeologists follow the map to a piece of land in Bertie County, North Carolina, and name it Site X. They start digging, and a few feet underground, interesting things start turning up. English pottery, crushed to pieces but still full of story. Nearby, Surrey, Hampshire border ware, the kind of ceramics colonists would have eaten and drunk from back on Roanoke. Some diggers wander off and find their own surprises nearby. at a spot they call Site Y. Ancient storage vessels, pots and ceramics people cooked and ate in. Now, someone lived here. They realized, someone from the very late 1500s who built a life in these two camps. And that someone, the archaeologists say, could only be the lost colonists of Roanoke. Mystery solved, apparently. Running low on food and staring down a rough winter, the colonists packed up and moved inland. Some settling at Site X, others at Site Y, a neat ending. But then a separate group of archaeologists clear their throats. They don't buy the inland's theory, and they have their reasons. They point back to that word carved on wood, Croatoan. Croatoan, they say, is Hatteras Island, where the Croatoan people lived. These diggers have done their own digging there and found intriguing clues. Native American pottery mixed with English artifacts, gun hardware from the late 1500s, a rusted rapier hilt from the same era, and an old writing slate. Their conclusion? The settlers moved to Hatteras Island, blended in with the Croatoans, and that was life as they knew it. It's believable, except some researchers think not all the colonists went to Hatteras. Maybe the colony split, some moving inland, others to Hatteras Island. White did, after all, tell the colonists to split before he left. Now, it's an idea that takes no sides, with enough evidence to back it and plenty of experts nod along. And here's the part that really matters. Wherever they went, one thing's certain. The colonists of Roanoke didn't simply disappear. A team of researchers from the Lost Colony DNA Project has recently found a detail that helps prove exactly that. They gathered participants, collected autosomal, mitochondrial, and Y DNA, and ran it through their equipment to see whether any Roanoke colonists left living descendants today, and they hit the jackpot. One participant, a Mr. Brown, carries Y DNA matching a Roanoke colony-era English family line. When researchers checked the old colony records, they found it. Two colonists named Henry and William Brown listed right there. So that settles it. The colonists of Roanoke didn't just vanish without a trace. They moved, they migrated, and built a hidden life in America, even if it looked nothing like John White's Plan A. And that's where the story of the missing colony of Roanoke ends. But hey, we bet this is a story that's got you thinking. Is there something we missed that you know about? Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to hit subscribe on everyone's favorite mystery channel, Myztora. We never disappoint.